My name is Priska Brosi. I'm Professor of Human Resource Management at Kühne Logistics University. And today I'm having the great joy of moderating the first panel on skills. For doing that, I would love to welcome all my panelists because I'm not doing this alone. So please join me on the stage that I can introduce you. And for all others, please join them with a round of applause. Thank you. And where is our last speaker? Short moment of panic, then you're missing one of the panelists. Thank you very much. And as Professor Kaplan just introduced, we acknowledge also what you don't know, and therefore we are seeking for collaborations. And in that spirit, all my wonderful panelists have actually agreed to help me out, because I acknowledge that the pronunciation might not be the perfect one when I say it. And so we co-create in that moment the introduction, starting with the panelists. You just have to switch on the microphone. And we do a collaborative introduction to save me from that. So,
hello everybody, my name is Kanyarat Nimtragun.
And she is from the Department of Logistic Technology and Transportation Management. She's the head of the Bachelor of Business Administration Program Logistics and Supply Chain Management. Her research is focusing on urban logistics. Please give a warm welcome. Thank you very much for being here, Professor.
Okay, good afternoon. My name is Bing. Nice to meet you. Okay.
And Associate Professor and Vice Dean of Graduate School from the University of Economics, Ho Chi Minh City. Also a very warm welcome to you. Thank you very much for being here.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Manny Biona from Philippines.
Executive Dean at Enrique Razon Jr. Logistics Institute, Mechanical Engineering Department. So you already see our first three speakers are coming from academia, and we will now join them with a half-industry perspective. Thank you very much for being here.
So my name is Thai, and I half industry, half university.
And currently pursuing his doctoral degree. Apart from that, he's Strategic Education Director at the Institute of Human Resource Development Research. So definitely a very helpful resource for skills. A warm welcome to you as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Sutotu from Vietjet Air Cargo.
And as head of cargo planning and revenue management, very helpful on that. Apart from that, he has a very high passion for education and skill development. Thank you very much for being here.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nguyen Thanh Nhã, with Nhã is a given name.
And he's the General Director of Tangan Human Resource Development Company. Thank you very much for being here as well.
Thank you.
And so what you see in our panel is basically we have a lot of different perspectives from different parts within supply chain management and logistics. And I think that is, especially when we talk about future skills, very helpful, because we need to look into perspective and we need to look into topics from very different perspectives. And so I'm very much looking forward, actually, to bring together these perspectives and to start out the panel, because future skills, what is that? And I think it's really important to fill that, first of all, with content. And therefore, I will again start on the far side. And my first question is, what do you think is the most important future skill and why? Thank you.
Thank you for question, Priska. So I know first, lady first. Okay, before answer to your question, my background is on study always. I have my bachelor, master degree and PhD in logistics, and now I'm working from 5 years already in lecturer and researcher at the university. So right now I'm head of the formation. So every 4 years in Thailand we have to renew our formation, and to do that we have to interview companies stakeholders. And then this year is lucky because we have to do the interview for the future skills that they have or they need. So the first skills, they said, they would like to have the skill in digital supply chain, that students should have that. So I would pass the second one to the second panelist.
Okay, in my idea based on Vietnam, because now about the people logistics is still limited in Vietnam. That's why also some more and more people they need to be trained. According to my side, I absolutely agree. So digital technology is very important because now everything looks like digital technology applied for many sectors. And that's why the people they need the digital technology. That's very important skill to keep to measure about the transportation from production to the markets. That means that they have to calculate for transportation. And also about the logistics. Also very we sometimes in the channel they need to discuss with the third parties. That means about the security of the data for the company is quite important. And so one more thing about the negotiation, also important. Okay, negotiation because some people they work with some company, logistics they will discuss about some kind of cost about the price and or the kind of channel to be employed, and that's be negotiation very important because that's the people they need to know very well to deal the project. That's my idea. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks for the previous two panelists. I think they raised very important points. But in addition to digital stuff and also negotiation, I won't zero in on a specific skill. What would be needed really in the future would be multi-skilled logistics professionals. It has to be an integrated thing. You need to know something about the legal side, the social side, the economic side, the business side, the technology side. And that's what we're seeing right now. A lot of guys in the logistics field are very strong in one area, but lacking on some areas. So yeah, in addition to what has been mentioned, I think multi-skilling would be very, very, very important. Thanks.
Thank you very much. You already summarized and jumped to the end, but I'm very curious on the 3 additional skills. Thank you for making my job.
So, difficult question because when we talk about future skill, we tend to think about skill of the future. I couldn't think anyone because digital is the buzzword everybody talk about it. We have to think and work with big data. But from my 20 years experience with corporate in different area, I work in sales for shipping companies before. I work as salesman for HafenCity before. I'm teaching right now. So I think the most important skills, not for any time, a leadership skill, but in this time is more specific, how to work with Gen Z. Because there are 2 reasons make me believe that the important skill. Number 1, from my own observation, the young people, Gen Z, they love, now when they look about career, they love fancy things like digital marketing, communication, PR. Very few of them really interested in logistics and supply chains, right? And even though they fall into that kinds of career, there are different generation of people. The way they think, the way they talk, the way they deal with their boss, different. So I have challenge working with Gen Zs in my sales team for many years. I gave up. So I think this is a very important skill, maybe for the future.
For me, I think the flexibility skill is very important. I believe we all know some days ago, I just read a news saying that now the rate from Vietnam to Europe for 40 feet, 20,000 USD something, because of the Red Sea and Houthi attack. And so now a lot of uncertainty. Things change very quickly. So the leader, even the team, they need to like be very flexible to dealing with that kind of situation. So we cannot saying that, oh, it may just happen 1 or 2 days or 2 weeks, then it come back to normal. No, but it's not. Now we can observe some years so far, and it's not disappear. So the skill in dealing of that is very important, and flexibility is, I think, important. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Thank you very much for this addition.
Thank you on the panelists. I'm the last person to speak. So actually, we talked about the skill in supply chain and logistics. It's a very broad, field, and I think one page cannot, fit in all the skill. I have had a chance to come across with some recent study in Vietnam, and it said that if you talk about a skill for logistics and supply chain, it's more than 20. But actually, if you ask me what is the most crucial skill in the future, I would say lifelong learning. Whatever you call it, the skill or the ability, because if you want to master all these things, you have to possess the ability to adopt lifelong learning. If you don't learn, you never get master on this skill. Being a logistics manager is like riding a motorbike. If you don't keep moving, you fail. Okay, so lifelong learning is my answer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I knew this would be a wonderful panel. Thank you very much for sharing. And I think what we see in your answers, first of all, yes, multi-skill. What we also see is the T-shaped model of skills, meaning on the one hand, we have very generalized skills, such as flexibility, for example, working, and I put it less, working across generations, because ask my students, they also think it's difficult to work with us. So this goes in both ways in organizations. We really have to work across generations, across different needs, across different values, and really learn how to bring everything together, working with diversity in multiple dimensions. I very much agree with that. And then on the other hand, where we started basically, also the depth of the skills that we need in supply chain management, meaning the digital skills, the data analytics that are really specifically for supply chain management. So it's really in both directions, multi-skill. Thank you very much for that. Yes, and for doing that also, lifelong learning will be very important. We're coming back to that point at the very end of our panel because, yes, before we go into lifelong learning, I would first of all ask you the question, is there any skill that you can think about that we won't need in the future? Yes?
Me first?
Everyone who wants to, so I won't go in.
Okay. So I will try for my answer about digital skills. So now, maybe more, and it depends on organizations or companies, but normally in Thailand, we still have manual data entry. So in the future, I think the data entry, we will use digital tools more than manual because we have a human error, and it's quicker to use digital tools or in inventory. Now in Thailand, I still have students who work manual entry data as well. So in the future, I think when we use AI or machine automate, something like that, we will not need this skill to write things or to just put the finger on the keyboards anymore. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, so data entry basically at the administration part. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to add some point right here. I think resilient planning is very important too. You might be aware that logistics and supply chain is a very diversified and changing industry. It changes every day, especially with the development of IT, technology, applications, all right? So I would say that resilient planning is very important, especially during the last 3 years. You see the COVID, the pandemic, so it changed, and it is very important for a company to come up with some contingency plan. So the staff must have the resilient planning. That's my point.
Yes.
Thank you.
So basically that the staff is also able to be more resilient and more flexible. So it goes a little bit into the flexibility point. How can organizations support the resilience of their employees, if I may give back the question?
Correct that. And in other words, all the staff who work in the supply chain industry have to understand the context and then come up with some contingency plan in order to cope with the situation and overcome the difficulty. That's my point.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much. Yes. Got it. Which also goes into flexibility and actually, yes, increasing skill level for doing that. Yes, I very much agree. Because yes, we can come up with at least, yes, data entry won't be needed. Any other skills that we can find?
I want to add on, I think, is the ability to unlearn and relearn.
Yes.
So especially we mentioned about AI is something new, right? So this September remarked my 20 years in aviation, but with AI, just like a student, we are in the same point, even if they are open to learn.
Yes.
So we have the same same distance to achieve the goal. So I think the ability to unlearn and then relearn is important. Sometimes too much experience make you difficult to learn something new. So yeah.
It's one of the most difficult things. Also, when being creative and being innovative, it's actually one of the most hindering aspects is to unlearn things that we already know and to bring out new things. Yes, definitely.
I have something, but I don't know how to name it. And I found out you're very good at naming a skill. So you put it in working across generation. Yeah, this is how the fantastic you can name. So I just put the context in which I think the supply chains people for now and in the future, they should very good at it. I don't know how to name it, so you have to help me how to name it.
I will give it a try.
Yeah. So now is the context. I work in sales department for MNCs. For a long time, and supply chains people, I love them. At the same time, I don't love them.
Be careful.
Because we have to deal together something we call the forecasting. All right. And in the forecast, the supply chains people, in my company, they are very capable with data analytics. We have no issue with data entry. International company, they have platform, they have tools, so data keep coming automatically. So they're almost zero error. But when the data come and they show the charts and the table, and we have to discuss to find the insight, and then we have to make some important decision. Decision number one, should we increase the stock level or close down the stock level? Right? We call it pipelining. Decision number two, can we boost more projection in sales for next month, next quarter, or we should lower it down? Because if we boost up the stock, it's going to, and the forecast doesn't happen like we think, then on the P&L happen. So I'm from sales team. I know the data. I can do my pivot table by my own. Back then we do pivot table. Now they have more fancy things like Power BI, and you have the chart instantly. Data come on minutes. So the data is no issue. The issue is I have the visibility and I have the sense to feel the markets in the future, next week, next month. Because I talk to my distributor, I engage with my customer, supply chain people, supply chain colleagues, nicer word. Supply chain colleagues, they sit in the office and they look at Excel. They're totally right. This is the trend. This is the historical data. So it's very hard for us to make a right consent. If I'm wrong, it's very dangerous to the company. If they're wrong, also not good for the company. So I can't find what kind of skill that supply chain people should have in order to overcome that. So now you name it.
So my guess would be working with AI in a very broad sense. And what I mean with working with AI is, first of all, understanding AI. Because we need to understand, okay, what can AI really forecast, how good it is in forecasting the trend. Because I can't understand if I know it better if I don't know the technology. And therefore, at least for my students, I always tell them data analytics is the most important thing that you need to understand. And I very insist on that point because that is the basic part of understanding AI, understanding what the algorithm actually does. And we're a little bit lazy on that, I guess, because we love to use it and we love the outcome, but we are too much relying on it as a black box. And then in addition, not only understanding AI, but then also, of course, understanding which would be intuition, our intuition, because I think really the strongest model is when we collaborate with AI, meaning we're bringing human strength, and that is the forecasting, the understanding of trends, and that is a very intuitive understanding. That is not a mathematical model, but that is really looking into the trends of the future and understanding and really deriving from that, okay, how do I need to change? And that is really this creating an intuition about the future trends that you then, especially in the forecasting model, then integrate and understanding when this is really adding to the AI. And there, does this capture?
Yeah. That kinds of understanding that you keep repeating is very necessary for supply chain colleagues in the future. Now we need a term of the skill. So
yes.
What should supply chains people have to build up in terms of skill? In that context, what kind of skill?
The skill?
Yeah.
Yes?
I just Googled it, and it is called, so the title is Most Important Supply Chain Manager Skill in 2024. And we say two skills you mentioned. One is integrated technology proficiency, and the other one is relationship management and collaboration. That's it?
We can do better, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on what you've mentioned. I was about to say grounded innovation, that culture, because we're dealing with Gen Zs and normally they're trained to seek freely. But they have also to realize that there are some boundaries and there are certain considerations that they really have to look at. There are some social considerations, economics, legal side. So all of this has to be integrated in whatever innovations that they're going to do. Yeah. And then, and another thing also would be more on, you mentioned about AI and the advanced tools. Mm-hmm. What I'm seeing is a lot of students right now, and even professionals, tend to abuse these tools and these innovations. So it's very, very important that you understand really how it works, as you mentioned, and know the limitations.
Yes, yes. So really understanding technology, not just using it. I think the first step is, yes, understanding how to use it, but really understanding the boundaries, understanding the limitation, understanding when can I trust the result and when I can't trust the result. And therefore this deep understanding, and then also understanding how to collaborate, how to integrate, yes, that is very important. And yes, please.
Okay, I am thinking something like AI, yes, very supportive, very helpful, but AI needs input idea. Because if you don't have idea, that means AI cannot give you everything. And that's why the people, I mentioned about the prediction. It's very important. Just mentioning about algorithm model, like how to predict. That's why sometimes the people, they use transport mathematics, how to measure from the day from production to the markets, how long storage time. That means they try to measure. But the people, they need to know, okay, if you want to predict or forecast, what kind of field or what kind of indicator should be used in the model. And conclusion is, at least the people, they need how to build. They need to build the model. It's like algorithm model because data day by day, time by time, day by day, month by month, increasing, become the big data one day, maybe after 5 years, and that means. okay, digital tool cannot give us, but sometimes they cannot give everything for us. We need the people. That's why it's about the predictive model very important to predict about market's behavior or about the kind of activity in the channel. Yes, in conclusion, we need people how to create creation very important. Yes.
And asking the right questions, because that is still a skill. You can have as much data as long as you're not asking the right questions, you will never get the right thing out of this data. Yes, there was already some action on the microphone, I think. No? Okay. Then, yes. So I think the overall picture that we're getting on the skills is basically, yes, it's increasing. So the skill level that we need, on the one hand, it's overall increasing, and on the other hand, also, it won't stop. So most probably we'll need to continuously update our skills. Talking about lifelong learning, we come to that, I promise. Before, one moment on the drivers. And I think we already talked about one driver, and that is technology in depth. And yes, especially for the supply chain management, artificial intelligence, working with technology, digitalization is one important driver of the skill level. What other drivers do you think are there? Apart from technology, what is additionally kind of challenging us in order to, yes, necessitating additional skills?
Okay, now, gentlemen first. Okay, based on my experience, because I also work on in the GIZ project from Germany in Mekong Delta. Okay, the problem now from the barrier to logistics in Vietnam. Okay, like human resource, because it's quite limited for Vietnam. Until now, we have some university to educate maybe 10,000 people supply to logistic markets. And one more thing about infrastructure. Yes, of course, problem with Ho Chi Minh City. You see traffic jam everywhere. From here, for example, here from Ho Chi Minh to Mekong Delta, the highway not much, maybe like more than 200 kilometers, but not much. And one more thing about how to about the innovation in technology because the most logistic provider in Vietnam very small, because 90% SMEs in Vietnam are accounting for 90%, and that means, and then that's why the interaction with among the logistic provider is not so good, and that's why it's not easy to buy the logistic service like a package, because we need to buy from many service logistic providers. And one more thing about the legal regulation also sometimes problem for some company, because they change the regulation. That means sometimes the company, enterprise, they change. Why? Because their capacity of finance limited. They need to capital from the government. They need the capital from the bank. But sometimes a legal regulation change. That means they cannot touch or borrow money from the bank. That's why they cannot good enough to compete with larger service provider. Thank you very much. That's my idea.
Yes. So changing demands, you need the mic. Changing demands, that is what I heard and understood. And then also, yes, legal requirements basically can also be an important driver. Yes. Any further drivers in your opinion? Yes.
I believe that we are talking about the main driver for future skill, right?
Yes.
So actually, Mr. Ben has already mentioned several main drivers, but I would like to add one very important thing to my point of view. So to the best of my understanding, a globally interconnected work is very important, because we are all aware that supply chain, it's a complex process that involves different individual and entity across the nation, across the world. So the increased interconnectivity works will enhance the company diversity and adaptability. So I think this is another main driver that will affect the future skill in supply chain.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, globalization basically, and the requirement, yes, to connect and to collaborate across boundaries, yes, and yes, definitely. So the global connection is definitely increasing and also requiring different skills. Yes.
I like to join globalization by experience of my students, because we have 2 courses about international commerce and distribution and transportation domestic. And so globalization in the course about international trade, my student just came back to their training, and so we have shared some experience about that. And they said in the university we don't aware about that globalization effect, that for example how they can adapt their skills and their behavior to the company, Japanese, German, or French, because all they are different. And they ask me, and so, okay, I can tell you for French, maybe, but I cannot tell you for Japanese. I have to go to the expert to ask what is the behavior and skill to adapt and to put in our courses to be up to date to their requirement for the experience for the student. Thank you.
Yes, and also the importance, I think, that brings to learning of experience, because we can tell people a lot, we can provide the knowledge, especially from a university perspective, but then we also have to send them out into interactions. And especially when it's about cultural sensitivity, I think going into the interaction, experience it for yourself, really deepens your understanding, and therefore also, yes, the exchange across universities, across the world, is so important to sending people into the situation and increasing this experiential learning on this side. Yes, I have exactly the same experiences with my students. Yes.
What I think as technology progresses and as high-tech logistics labor requirements are getting more sexier, eventually the main challenge would be you will still need skills in certain areas that are not as sexy as these modern ones. And that will become a major problem in the future. So you have a human resource imbalance. You have so many people focusing in one area, but the basic ones, which will still be definitely be needed, that becomes a problem. Like, for example, it's very hard to attract people to go into maritime logistics, because all of them would want to go into data analytics and this kind of thing. So, yeah. So maybe that is also one driver. We need to recognize that there will always be certain tasks, and someone needs to take on them, and skills needs to be developed in those areas, which may not be as high-tech and as sexy as the modern ones.
Yes, and sometimes I think we need to do a better job in making these professions sexy, actually, and highlighting why they are, because especially for logistics, I think it's really you're connecting across cultures, across the globe. I think there's a lot, and I'm a little bit hypocrite on that, because I'm educated as an industrial engineer. I majored in logistics, and I'm professor of human resource management, so I apologize for that. But yes, I think as supporting the profession, we can do a much better job also highlighting why it is attractive to pursue these careers. And that actually, yes, data analytics is a required skill. And so it's just like data analytics is not just that you're then, yes, really working for a software company, but it's actually very traditional organizations who also need an offer, and actually offer that you use your skills in data analytics in a context that is actually really beneficial for people and for humans, and is really bringing value, basically, in these different industries. But I agree with you. Yes, we need to, channel in a better way. Yes, thank you very much. Then I have one concrete, because we're already, I agree with all the points. One special focus, because if you look behind you, it's green, very green, our background, focusing on sustainability, and I would like to channel the discussion a little bit in this direction. Do you see that also additional skill demands are coming from sustainability? You're free, so going into green, environmental sustainability, please feel free also to think about social sustainability if you want to. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to talk about collaboration, because right now we have about 3 or 4 years between university and cities. So we work with the city to have the experience in the student from the first and second year go through the field to see how works there are, and to see that what are the difference between that year, and we can see the increasing or changing of skills that they use. So the cooperation between university and city and community, I think is very important to foster sustainability in supply chain.
Yes, definitely. So also update the knowledge, basically.
Yes.
And then, yes, continuously updating the knowledge. Yes, thank you very much. And we can do that by collaborating. Yes.
I want to add on innovation. I think that part in Vietnam now people talk a lot about green, about sustainable, and innovation. I think is important. Some days ago, I see a video. Somewhere they make on the recycled trash to become some I don't know how to say it, just to make a material to build the street. So I think it's a recycle. So that kind of innovation is very important. And the second thing is about the green. Vietnam is now promoting a lot is the green energy. Yes, so it's kind of innovation, and I think the government strong support that kind of innovation and have incentive and on effort to make it happen. So yeah, something to share.
Yes, definitely. On the one hand, yes, bridging with technology, so finding new technologies, and also, yes, finding new ways, actually, to also, yes, working with waste, yes.
I just want to contribute to his idea on innovation and sustainability. But for me, I'm not very much sustainability about green planet, don't eat meat. I'm not a fan of it. I'm a fan of social sustainability. And I have AACSB in 2021 to cooperate with a smart logistics company here. So we call last mile delivery. So they have the model like Drop, but they deliver to multiple points, so not door to door. The company, if you are Vietnamese, you will know it's a big and promising and successful company called Fast Delivery. In our own language, we call it Giao hàng nhanh, to GSN, right? I work with them because they employ me for 8 months so that I can train their team to sell the service. But what I learned from it is the beautiful of using technology and innovation to build social sustainability. And here's the story. So before their business model, if I am a 40-year-old man, I don't have my college degrees, it's very hard for me to find a good jobs. But now if I have a motorbike and I know how to work hard, then I can come to work for them as a driver. And very easily I come to the office, I sign the contract, I show my ID, they log into, they make me become a member of their system, so I can deliver for them with an app. They can download an app on my phone and guide me how to use it in 15 minutes, so can I have a job. So it creates a lot of sustainability in a way, everybody have a job, a good job. And the more big impact of that model is in rural area. there are women who try to selling things online. So they get stuck with how to deliver cross city, cross provinces. And this company bring in the solution. So when I look at the way they do, I realize that they do a lot of good things about sustainability, social-wise. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Do something good for your people and they will take care of the planet. Yes, yes, and then also, yes, do much better work, because we can also show that actually, that if you don't have to worry, for example, about your future, you're working in a different way, and then you're also working in a more proactive way. And so, yes, very often we put social and environmental sustainability next to each other, but there are also interdependencies. And we can actually show that, yes, social sustainability also helps to create environmental sustainability, because, yes, when people are taken care of and are in good work conditions, they also work differently. And that ultimately also, yes, supports environmental sustainability. Yes, I very much agree. Thank you very much for the contribution. Yes?
Yeah, I think 4 things. For a sustainable logistics program to work or innovation to work, you need to satisfy 4 things. One is it should be technically sound. Second, is socially acceptable. And then third, it's got to be economically feasible. And then fourth, it's got to be legally defensible. And a lot of initiatives have been focusing on sustainability, but a lot of them fails because most of the time it's very strong on one area, but is not really able to address some of the areas. So I think it's very important to develop the skills on how to integrate all these 4 things, and we're very conscious about these things.
Yes, yes, and the interdependencies, basically, between these different fields, because if you continue looking from one perspective, we won't get the whole picture and integrate it. Yes, I very much agree. Yes.
Okay, I have one more ideas about, because logistics includes production and distribution. And so that's why, sustainability very important. The products from the producer, for example, like in Vietnam, very popular agricultural products, and the farmers, they must have. They must understand about social responsibility. And even innovation very important. But enterprises also think about the CSR, corporate social responsibility, also important. Because if innovation does mean they how to cut costs, improve technology, but also they think about CSR are very important. And that means about the logistics sector in Vietnam, like the macro policy, the government, they just think about master plan, or they try to build up like a hub to gather small service providers because they use, they explore natural resources briefly. That means the government, they will control about that. And that's why in Vietnam, just develop, think about master plan from now to 2030 and the vision to 2050. They think about where should be logistics center, and also they try to build a hub and to save environment. That's why it's a kind of idea. CSR so important for the company or enterprises. Yes, thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you very much for your contributions. And actually, talking about social sustainability, the cool thing, learning and development is part of social sustainability. So taking care of employees, developing them, training them is social sustainability, and the investment by the organization in supporting this and doing this is one important part.
Yeah, I'm just going to add on to that. I think I missed to say ability to advocate. Yeah. I think that's very, very important. We've got lots of engineers, very good technically, but they don't know how to push for their ideas and advocate for it.
Yes, yes, it goes a little bit along the negotiation. So it's not enough to have ideas, basically. You also need to understand, how can I push for ideas? How can I connect? How can I convince people actually on these ideas in order to really make them happen within the organization? Yes, definitely. Thank you very much. Yes. And so I would like, coming from social sustainability, training and development, I would actually like to do the last step in terms of how can we promote lifelong learning. as organizations on the one hand, but also as universities on the other hand. Because if I may put that out as one assumption, we can't do it alone. Probably it's one task for organizations, lifelong learning, because people are then already working. But my assumption would be, yes, universities need also to think about, okay, what could be actually good models to support lifelong learning in organizations. And so I would like, first of all, to invite the industry part in terms of what do you think is needed in the future to support and to foster lifelong learning in organizations. And then, be warned, I come to the university side. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think lifelong learning is very important these days because, like I said, it's a key success factor for a company to reach diversity and adaptability. And the ultimate goal is, the sustainable development of one company. So let me share the case study of my company. So basically, every year we have like a master training plan for the whole group of 7,500 staff, and we have the budget of training for approximately $1 million a year for domestic training, for overseas training, short-term training, and then even master program in Europe. In the Netherlands, which is a joint venture between my Saigon Network and AACSB from Rotterdam. So lifelong learning is very important. And what we do is that we come across with different section, department of the whole group, and then we ask them to understand what they really need from each department and member company, and then we come up with the master training program, and then we get it done on a monthly basis. Either it's a one-day workshop, it's a 2-week training, it's a 3 months in Europe, or a master program in Europe. So that's what we do. And I think it's very important for one company to be very clear, transparent with the employee about this. And then we need to have like a career path for them. We show them motivation. We show them the outlook of their career, so they will contribute more to the company, and lifelong learning will be ensured. Thank you.
Yes, I really like the idea of different training formats addressing different needs. Do you allow me to delve a little bit deeper into identifying the needs? What do you do as a company to identify the needs? Because we just discussed the skills are actually really changing and it's hard to forecast. And so the question would be, how do you do that? How do you forecast? How do you identify?
So by the end of one calendar year, usually in October or November, we get some kind of survey and meeting with different department and member company and ask them, what do you need for training for your different level, operational, middle manager, and top management level? What do you need for each kind of participant? And then we collect the training requirement, and then we come up with a master program. Yeah. And then based on that, we will also look at the actual performance of the company to organize, multiple form of training. It can be, on-the-job training. It can be, some seminar, workshop, or some short training inside the company or overseas. That's it.
Yeah. Maybe delving a little bit and also opening the discussion, of course, to all of you. What are the training formats that you see as most important for the future? We already talked a little bit about seminars and workshops. What do you think is really the most important format to offer training to support lifelong learning in organizations? Yes?
I just want to go back with the previous question that you asked, what can we do to foster the lifelong learning if I am from industry side, right? So the one thing I did that, and if it work, it rotate people. So rotate the people. So you have to move to different position. You don't, in the company I work for, Procter & Gamble, they don't let you stay in the same place for more than 18 months.
Yes.
So when I move to a new position, I have to learn something new, so I can. Learning is boring, for my opinion. So, Go to school is tired and no fun. So it's very hard to just say motivate by words and by speeches to get people to go to school. Yeah. Unless you show them two things, either fear or benefit. So if you don't learn new things, you're out of the market. Yeah. Or if you learn new things, you go up. So fear or benefit. So we rotate the people. As a senior manager, I have a plan. So back to the question you asked, how can we know? In corporate, they have the competency model. So they know by individual what training skills he already has, what he doesn't have. So we stick the box year on year. So we know what to train. Yeah. And we rotate people in the best way to foster lifelong learning. The second, I wish I have the ability or authority to do that. If I have, I would do that, definitely. So if you have MBA, so let's say we have one senior vacancy in the company. So two of you have the same ability and competency, but you have higher degree. I may consider you more. Why? It's not because the degree, it's because you do MBA. You have more strategic thinking, supposedly. So the chance should be used, right? So if I have authority, I will put education qualification into the ranking, into the evaluation. Then people will learn, I will sure. They will compete for learning.
Yeah, acknowledging, basically.
Yeah, but now, from what I know, in corporate, they don't do it openly and formally yet. So they don't take education like a box to stick. If we can do it reversely, yeah, they learn. They volunteer to learn.
Yes, and I think it's also starting with the learning, actually starting with career paths. Because if you're working with a linear career path, which is the traditional model, basically, you're starting and then you're pursuing the same career across your life. And then if you look into career models, actually, it's quite depressing because they peak at the age of 40 and then it goes down, which I think is really too early to go down. So rethinking our career models in terms of, no, it's not linear. It's actually, you change careers also.
Yeah,
yes?
And that's the problem we have with Gen Z. They don't think career like the way we think. So we think we stick in a company, try to get into, to fit in, to go up and up. As Gen Z will now, the world is open.
Yes.
It's a jungle there, you know. So how can you build career path and say, okay, you have to pass through this learning? No. So Gen Zs, they will choose what to learn by their own. Mm-hmm. We just give them the benefits or the fear if they don't learn. That's it.
As an emotion researcher, I'm not sure about the fear, but I don't want to go there, actually.
As people from industry, I'm very, very much believe in the fear.
The students those who were in my class this morning, they know why I emphasized that point. But I agree with you, and I agree also in terms of, because when we talk about lifelong learning, we come very often from an organizational perspective. But I think when we approach it from an individual perspective, it's good for you. It's increasing motivation. It's skill development. It's very healthy. It's deeply boring. You said it before. I did. After 20 years, I was so bored that I started pursuing my doctoral degree. And that is very nicely put, because yes, if you do something for such a long time, you're getting bored. And so actually changing, going away from the linear career, going more into, changing path, cross-training in different job rotation, all of this is actually making work much more interesting, and it's fostering intrinsic motivation. And so looking from it from an individual perspective, it's actually helping people to understand that actually lifelong learning is something that is something very nice to pursue. And personally, I consider being a professor is kind of the license for lifelong learning. It's great. It's one of the great things of my profession, that we have lifelong learning integrated in our profession. And I think if we can integrate it in more professions, then actually, yes, people do it from themselves, because it's very healthy and it's really interesting to do that. Yes, thank you very much. Yes.
So in this connection, I would like to elaborate a little bit by introducing two definitions. One is the training matrix at department level or member company level, and then at corporate level we have like corporate proficiency framework. So basically, the idea is not like penalty that you said, but if you don't learn, you get no promotion. That's it. So they have like training matrix for each department, which is diversify a little bit from department to department, and you come up with the training matrix, and you ask your employee, if you want to get promotion to the next level, you have to master this module, this module, this module of training.
Yes.
And then it's the same for corporate level. That's it.
Yes, yes. So really creating it, also making it part, basically, of your... Yes. Yes, yes. I'm wondering, I would like to hand over into the academia part, because I think we do a great job at the very beginning in teaching, but I'm wondering if we can do a better job actually to accompany companies, but also individuals in the lifelong learning path. And you already grabbed the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you. For the university in Thailand, we have two ways to do lifelong learning. The first way is lecture go to the company. So the company give like their needs. So my second role is as a member of association in logistics in Thailand. So I can have the requirement needs from companies in logistics, and so that information give me like where and what we going to give the formation or short course for the company. And I so love the process about your company that you have the requirement every year. And the second way, after to get that, we go to with our team to the company for quite. It depends on the length that they need. Sometimes it's a half day, 1 day, 2 days that they can change the team to come to learn with us. But the learning is not just go to the class and learning. We have to practice. So we in our university, our thinking is that the best way to learn is doing things. So we have like 20% theories, and the last one we have just to practice. The second way is the learners from the company who come to the university. So we try to do the best flexibility we can. So for example, we have the class in the weekend, just 1 day, for example Sunday, or at night after I think 7 p.m. that we can have 2 or 3 hours days to have class. And for this formation is more formal. They mostly younger than when we go to the company. So the learner are the young employees in the company who would like to have like better in the skills or get more salary to be have certificates. That way is quite nice to them. Can be in the university at the same time at working, and so we can share the experience and their skill with us. So we have these two ways. It can be good for them, but we have some difficulty. For example, company requirement, we don't have enough. Sometimes we have to go to the company to ask what do you need when you are available, because company don't have their time very much. And for the second way, when students come to us, they are already tired from their work, and so sometimes they said, can I have class just for 1 hour, please? And so we try to have the best way for the both formation that we try. And then we have like credit bank when learners come to the university and they finish our like short course. We have like the credit that they can go to other university that they would like to go and accumulate their credit, and at the end they can have like certificate to go to the company, and then the company may upgrade their salary or promote them.
I'm really impressed actually by the flexibility that you have in different formats, in having shorter and longer formats. I really think this is a great idea. Yes, thank you for sharing. Yes.
Okay. the logistics sector, the typical sector, that means the model cooperation between university and the company, very important. Yes, Mr. Nhar, he just mentioned, every year we send the people to the company because where a very pilot model student they can come to learn, and that means the cooperation between university and company important. Also, the good for professor or lecturer, they can do research over there because they can collect more practical research and then they share with students. And one more thing, sometimes we, not every time we send, but we also need to invite some people like Mr. Nhar. He's like alumni of CFVC. We invite. That means alumni very important. That means if university develop, we try to keep the alumni and to connect with them, and then ask them come to share. And also good for internship students. They can come there to practice. And conclusion is about cooperation between university and company, very important, particularly to think about the alumni for education who are very relevant to the sector. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, and I'm directly handing over.
We developed this concept called finishing schools because we feel that normally for a bachelor's degree is more of a general degree. But there's a gap, there's a skills gap between what the industry really needs and what universities are normally producing. So we're trying to address that part. So there's a lot of initiative from new graduates to learn more on specific areas to make them more attractive for the industry. That's one. But I think one of the main drivers really would be government policies, like certification requirements and these kind of things. That's an area where we work on a lot. So if, for example, it's not related to logistics, but in the Philippines, we just signed the Energy Conservation Act, which requires all corporations need to have an energy specialist, manager. So that's where, like, universities can come in. They can deliver training programs, certify these people. So lifelong learning could be facilitated and greatly supported by policies. It could be also just within the industrial or industry associations. So they can decide among themselves, okay, we're going to require these competencies. Okay, then they can work with the universities. But another area also that we work a lot with companies is countries like the Philippines, wherein we send a lot of people abroad. There's always that brain thing. So a lot of companies will say, okay, we train a lot of these people, and then suddenly after 2 years they leave. So that's also a gap where we're really trying to address. That provides also a big market for us for lifelong learning. There's always that gap. And it's also very important to talk with the industry. Because there's a thing that you have the general knowledge on the bachelor's degree, then you have some specialized knowledge. Could be addressed by the finishing school, but there's that proprietary knowledge that normally is being delivered by the companies itself. So it's very important to have a very clear idea on which area are you coming in. Another challenge also that we've experienced in working with companies is, you mentioned, most of the employees are very tired already, and companies could not also afford to pull out their people to do like 3 days, 4 days training. So the methodology and the mechanisms is something also that has to be very, very flexible.
Yes, really addressing. And I like at this point in the question about, okay, training and then people are leaving. I love the quote by Richard Branson, basically, training them well so they can leave, but treat them well so they don't leave. And I think this combination, you need both. So yes, training, but then also if you create an environment in which people like to work, they won't leave you. And then, yes, they stay with you. So it's a really good reason, actually, to do that. Thank you for sharing. Yes.
I just want to add on a bit the potential. I think when I study from CFVG, the master one, we have a 13 module, and it takes about 2 years. And I study after the full time at work, and then at night to study. And a lot of people the same. And I'm talking about Vietnam. So I just wish if there is any framework or course that can have the flexibility, I like that word. Let's say if you can break it down to give the certification, make it 13 modules separately. And okay, if I have time, I can make it, when I collect it 13, I get a master. Yes. Let's say, if I want to do the master, then that way, right? It's one way. Another way is that I'm not interested in the master. I'm doing the warehousing. I just taking care of the warehousing part or planning part.
Yes.
I'll study that part. Will you give me the certification after I finish?
Yes.
And maybe next year I'm interested in the other, and then so that kind of flexibility in framework, the cost, I think is something, if you can do, then it's perfect, I think.
Learning in modules, basically. So choosing modules, being able to accumulate modules to a degree, but also deciding, basically, having the freedom also to stay with a module and really pick and choose, basically, your education in a way. Yes, I very much see that. Thank you very much. I want to take some time also to allow questions from the audience, so I could actually go on another hour with you. Thank you very much for the discussion. This was a great joy. And we would continue the discussion with questions from the audience. And I will take over the microphone. You will get mine. And then just raise your hand if you have an additional question for our panelists.
I start here, then I go.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the sharing. So I have two questions. My first question is maybe as related to competency, the gaps of the workforce skills. So what are the key mismatch gaps in this region? And another question is for Vietnam alone. What do you think of the mismatch or the skill gaps of the people in these regions, or need to drive for to get to the future skills that desire for the job? So how do you measure it? That's the first question. And let's come to the second question on how do you design the system in what the role of a government and institution can promote or advise the company to perhaps define the appropriate training program for their workforce. That's two questions. Thank you.
So I said, I think I would try to give answer to the first question first. So you are talking about the mismatching skill, right, between universities and company, right?
No, the current skill of the people versus the future skill that need to, to the workforce. The first question is the current skills versus the future skill that the people or the workforce should, somehow see, measure, drive it. So the first question is about maybe a number, a metrics for the region to see how far we are, or Vietnam to be more specific.
Yes. Well, actually, at corporate level, I believe that it is the responsibility of the top management to be aware first of the difference between the current skill level and then the future skill level. So they need to understand the main driver on the future skill needed in line with the development of the company, and then they need to come up with some appropriate training for their staff in order to fit the gap between the current level and then the future level. I think so. So, like in Vietnam, when it's come to digital transformation, so step number one is always to change the mindset of the top management, and then you take action for training, for the investment facility later, right?
But you say something about regions. Can you explain what does you mean by regions? Region mean Southeast Asia or whatever?
Yeah, Southeast Asia.
So you want to know what is the skill set of people, the gaps of skill set of people here in this country, Vietnam, versus the regions, versus other country around us. Okay. So I have chance to work with people. I'm Vietnamese, so I know my people, I suppose. And I have chance to work with colleagues of Southeast Asia as well. And now I'm teaching in some school and some international schools, so I have chance to teach local students and international students. So the skill set from the gaps, mainly what from my observation both in university environment and working environment is the huge gap in communication. I have to mark any semester hundreds of papers, for the same topic. And you know that pen, right? Yes, And what I see is we have international students who come here and submit the paper to me, and I read this paper from my Vietnamese student. What I found out is the students from international, from other countries, they tend to send me short, coherent, and clear paper to address the idea. And it's reflected also in the way they present the idea verbally to me in class. And when we come to the meeting, I'm Vietnamese, so I have my bad habit, I communication not so clearly, not so cohesively. I learn from them. So if you ask me, the biggest skill of people here and with other country, it's just a gap. We can fill the gap, for sure. It's communication. And the second skill is we grow up in a time when we don't have a lot of things around. So we were not so open in terms of the way we're thinking. We don't accept the new thing openly like the other. But that gap becomes smaller and smaller now with Gen Z and the Alpha to come. So communication for me is the biggest gaps. And we are doing a lot of work to fit it.
Thank you very much. I think there's another answer. Thank you.
Okay. The first question about the big gap in Vietnam, about the program. Because very urgent for university in Vietnam. They try to develop some of the program for logistic students program. But some students after take work in some company they need to retrain because the knowledge from university is not real, it's not practical, and that means a big gap between education and the practical demand from the company. And Mr. Nhai, he knew very much about that. And the program in university looked like focused too much on academics theory. There is lack of practical. And that's why I just mentioned about the model cooperation between the company and the university, very important, because from that, students can learn about practical situation. And then after graduation, so they can get a job immediately. They can adapt for the company expectation, and that's why the big gap. That means about the program, it doesn't meet the market demand. That means I think university should think about that. For example, today we do look like research. We collect information and then we develop the program. That means a very, very good idea. Okay, I remember you mentioned about the second question about institute, about the policy. Can you repeat about the second question in Vietnam? You just mentioned something like that.
Yes, come from the first question. So we define gaps. So then the roles of university and maybe government in that sense a bit bigger. How can we perhaps advise or promote or somehow transfer the appropriate training program for the company to address or to fill that gaps? What model that company can learn from that? from your advice? That's the second question. Thank you.
Okay, you are right now. Most logistics, the service provider in Vietnam, I mentioned about local providers. Exactly, so they know logistic business, but sometimes they lack of the knowledge, because logistics, that means a lot of things over there, but they just think about how to transport the products from Mekong Delta to Ho Chi Minh City and something else, but maybe they don't think about blockchain or distribution or quality products. Okay, conclusion is that's why the government, they pay attention to some non-organization. It's like VCCI. VCCI, that means like Vietnam Commerce, Industry and Commerce Association. And from that, the organization, they try to organize some seminar, workshop, and invite some logistic provider, and they share. But sometimes they have to pay the money. And conclusion is that's the main channel to support the enterprises how to improve the logistical knowledge. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think in the back was the first question, and then we're coming to the front. Yes.
Good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy. I'm also a CFPG fellow. I'm also working as well at the same time. Thanks to the panelists for the very fruitful discussions. I've heard a lot of skill that you mentioned, and personally, I think it's equally important. It's not just in logistics and supply chain, but in all of our sectors that we are working today. One thing that emerged from your discussion is actually the learning skill. I've heard a lot of different platform, methodologies, mechanisms, etc. But I think it's also very important that in learning skill, there's three things that are very important. Is the self-learning, the unlearning, and the relearning, which is very important for those who have some working experience like us. So my questions is actually I have two questions for the panelists who are industry experts, and for the panelists who are academics. My question is actually more towards to those who already works and have some years of experience in the industry. I've heard from Mr. Tu say that it seems like your company or your corporate value those who have master degree and would like to be very open to give promotion to those who pursue or who having the higher educations, especially in academics wise. So I would like to hear from the other two if you see pursuing a higher educations like master or PhD is it important, or is it essential for today's workforce? And as a working professionals, I also see that there's another things that we can improve our skill or enrich our knowledge, our insight by not just master degree, but also others certifications accredited by a very well-known organizations. That is the questions for expert industry. I actually have another questions for the academics.
Shall we start with this question? Okay. Because I think otherwise they might forget the question. I'm sorry to intervene. You get the mic back.
From what I'm just sharing, about the 13th module and what you're asking, if the master is that important or realistic at the company, and I studied the master program in CFVG because I want to improve my knowledge itself. Not because of the master. It is part of the reason. I don't say that it's not because of the master, but the main purpose is to get knowledge myself. And my chance meeting 13 professor and every day talking to them is is something amazing that I do not experience that during 15 or 16 years working. So, and I can see the same in other college. When our classmates in the master, all they want to do because they want to get more knowledge themselves, not because of get the master and get promoted at the company. So I think from what I explained, we can see that we want to get more knowledge, more than just a certificate or a diploma. And for the company, after I get that master, I don't get promoted. I don't get higher salary, no. But the benefit of having new knowledge, and especially about the resourcing skill, and most important, the self-learning. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, is that we get it more because we want it, not because of the certificate for promotion or higher salary.
How do you see from the corporate point of view, from the management organization? Do you see it important?
Of course. I can see some of the company they don't care that into the details. Okay, after the work, it's your time. You can study. It's okay. It's good, and they support, but not in the work time. So they support you to study, to get more knowledge, and contribute to the work. Surely they support. But like you come and you say that I want to do the master, can you sponsor me for some years? I don't think it's that something popular in a corporate point of view. But surely they support, surely.
So I would like to share my case study. I mean, what happened in training of master level at our group company, from employee view and then corporate view. So back to my story, I was just like Mr. Suto too, right here. 12 years ago, I got a master degree. It's my personal intention to want to for further learning, but then I got support from the company for 100% of tuition fee, and they were saying that you get good intention, and it also help with the company. So we pay everything for the tuition fee, and that is 12 years ago. So what happened now in here is that we have a training policy for the whole group company, which say that if you have some personal intention to further your learning at master level, it's okay. You give some application and we'll review, and then if it is useful for the company, then we pay for you. That's from the corporate level also. So that is what happened now in my group company, right?
So, but I want to clarify, reconfirm that you are doing master with self-visit, right?
Yes.
You did it, or you are doing it? You are doing, okay. So I have a conference answer, which is very nice, and give you very happy feeling about the answer. And I have the very corporate answer, which give you some truth. Which one do you like? The truth, okay. So because I'm half industry and I have academic. So your question is very straightforward. Is it necessary or not necessary from corporate view, a master degree or PhD degrees? Is it necessary? My personal answer is no. And it's brutal, but no. The boss, corporate, at the end of the day, they want us to perform. If we perform, we get paid. If we get go up, if we don't, you know what happened. So, but I did my master. I am doing my dizzy doctorate now? So I know why you asked us. My answer is from personal point of view, higher education for me is a must. Why is it? Reason number one, when we go into the master degrees, we have two benefits for me. First, I review what I did, sometimes unconsciously at work. Now I know why I did this, theoretically. I reflect it again, so I can teach others as well how to do it, at least people under me. The second benefits of the master degrees is the alumni. You extend your connection. You extend your connection to the people who has good level at you, and that's when the opportunity comes. And when I did my master degree with American school, I have the strong and profound connection, which give me a lot of business now. I have a small company right now with my friend. We do market research. Where is my client? At a such small company, we don't have budget for advertising. We have clients from our network. So my short answer to you is, if you look at from corporate standpoint, it's not necessary at all, as long as you perform. If you look at it from very personal investment, it's a good investment ever. You are doing very right thing with self-visit, I would say, by doing your degree. Thank you.
I just want to add one word. I invest in land, I invest in housing, and this and that, and also invest in myself. And I just want to tell you one thing, that it's never a loss if you invest to yourself. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the most ungrateful task of a moderator is actually to cut the discussion, especially, I'm so sorry, especially, yes, especially when it's so helpful. And actually, I learned so much during the last 1.5 hours. And I really want to thank you, all of you, for your answers that were especially very passionate in giving the right answer. We have a break directly after. So also your further questions, again, my deepest apologies for stopping here at this moment. But we'll have a break afterwards. And please feel free to approach our panelists for further discussions and asking your questions.